And we are live on Michael Angley Live. And also, we're transitioning into another name called the Red Pill News. I want to call it the Red Pill News, or I'm calling it the Red Pill News because I see the media out there. I see what's going on. I see what they're talking about. I see how they make things up as they go along. They all do it. Doesn't matter if they're liberal, conservative, or whatever. It's Fox News or CNN. They're all the same. Maybe not as bad as CNN. I would even put MSNBC and all that above CNN. I think CNN's probably the worst and most false news that comes out of them that I've ever seen. If you had to fact check everything that they say and they do, it all comes up like as false. And at that point, you can't call yourself a news channel. They're a propaganda network. But anyway, they're all basically the same. And with me, I want the truth, and I want the truth in my news, and I want to know the facts. I don't need much. Just give me the facts, accurate facts, and I'm ready to roll. You know, I don't care about your opinion, Anderson Cooper, or any of those people on Fox, man. You know what I mean? Listen to them talk. I mean, that chick at night, what the hell her name is, the blonde one between Hannity and the other dude. She's like ridiculous, man. Like I listen, I tune in for a minute, and it's just so low brow, not intelligent. It's not. I don't know who it appeals to ultimately. I know people will say, "Oh, Trump people," because they're all idiots. They're not all idiots. The thing is with Trump, I'll tell you, man. I'm not a Trump fan. I've never made that a secret. I talk about that all the time when people say, "Oh, but you like Trump." I'm like, when? When? If I ever had to defend his policy, I resented it. I don't like the guy, but do I have to like the guy? No. I didn't like Obama. Was Obama a good president? No. Was Trump a good president? I think Trump did a decent job as president, but big but, his big but, he divided people even further by getting down in the trenches with these low lives, and he should never have done it. He should have risen above and tried to unify people. If he had the message of unity and love while he was doing all this other stuff, it would have worked out. But unfortunately, the name calling, his that's the thing. As a stand-up comedian, you got to know your audience, right? And there's the audience that likes the pee and poo humor, which I'm not into. You know what I mean? You could take all that nonsense out there in space up to Uranus. That's right. But the reality is, with Trump, if he gets a reaction out of people, he goes in that direction. He's a bully, and he's not developed enough mentally. And just because someone has $1 billion, it means nothing of their character or IQ or whatever they're made of. It just means they have money, which means they have money. That's all that it means. But people treat you different if you have money. If you have billions of bucks, people kiss your ass. And that's what he's used to. He's used to throwing around his weight, using his power and his money to get these deals done and just kind of flood people with his nonsense, and they have no choice, but to give in, right? And that's kind of, he pushes people into deals. That's, it's a way of doing business, right? I mean, for him, anyway. So if he had given himself the chance and not gotten down into the trenches and not gotten on Twitter and taking a crowbar and putting it between people and groups of people, and then of course, he made fun of handicapped people and all that. You know, when people say like, "Hey, oh, you see what Trump did and whatever, it was terrible," I never listen to them. I'm more the guy like, "Hey, let me check this out for myself. I'm gonna check out the video and see what he said, right? And make my own choices because that's the way you're supposed to be as an individual. You make your own choices. You don't let Anderson Cooper make choices for you or Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity is a big idiot. I don't like him. I don't like him because he's disingenuous, number one. And number two, he's a snake oil salesman. Do you know he has a book out that he claims on his radio show? You never see this on his TV show. I don't know what they don't allow him to do this type of nonsense on television for whatever reason. There's probably some FCC rule about it somewhere, right? But he claims on his radio show if you buy his book on how to decode the Bible, that he himself had the knowledge to decode the Bible, and in that Bible code, you will make riches. Claims you will make riches, real estate, whatever. If you buy this book, you'll get rich. And they say it not in so many words, so you can't sue them afterwards. When you buy his book, and the only one getting rich is him because you're buying his book. But the guy used to be a reverend, and then he uses that, in one of those, not like reverend, like an Al Sharpton type of reverend, like reverend in name only, a rhino. And then, these guys make a living out of other people's faith. And they basically take your money and they don't give you anything in return. You go to the store or you buy a TV, you give them the money, you get the TV. It's a deal. And you got something out of the deal. With religion, you go there, they shame you into living your life. They shame you. You're all sinners. You're all lowly sinners. Give me money, right? Like money's going to buy you out. The Catholic Church just recently reenacted indulgence. I was talking to someone the other day about this, and they had no clue that they did this. They had done away with it a long time ago because people stood up against it. Indulgence, all right, Catholic indulgence. When you commit unbelievable sins, right? Murder, rape, whatever, man. Didn't pay your taxes on time. Stuff like that. You go to the Catholic Church. You give them a check for a large amount of money. They don't tell you the amount of money, but they tell you how many Hail Marys you need to say, how many Holy Ghosts, and all the stuff you need to confess and forgive or whatever, right? So basically, you're buying your way out of big time sins. So that's the ironic part of it when it comes to religion, is that they preach spirit, they preach goodness, holiness, being what would Jesus do, be like that. But what they do is the opposite. Basically, they're just taking your money and they're telling you can go out, sin, 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 and be forgiven. Now, the God that I know doesn't forgive people. If you read the Bible at all, there's no forgiveness in there, really. There's a lot of destruction in there. There's a lot of punishment in there. There's locusts, there's floods, there's all kinds of stuff. There's smite, smite, smite all over the place. God is an angry God, angry that people are so stupid. And then he's like, I created them in my likeness. Am I this stupid? No. Why are they so stupid? You see people running around. You see society as it is right now. Look how ridiculous it is, man. Look how ridiculous people are. They're what they say, what they claim, what they're all about. So now everyone, I guess, thinks that they're the center of the universe and then they're more special than the person sitting next to them. So they're entitled to something more than you, I guess, which is why they act the way they act. How about just be grateful that you wake up every day and you have a decent life? Maybe if you don't have a decent life, you work for the goals to get a decent life, or stay away from the people that are toxic. Stay away because they will drag you down. They will eat your guts. Eat your guts and then ask for seconds. Doesn't matter how low you are, doesn't matter how hurting. Oh, you could hit rock bottom. Those very same people that you took care of for many, many, many years will sit there and kick you until you become a cold corpse and then still keep kicking you. So what's that all about? What's that all about? The hell ever happened? I believe in love. Me personally, man. I believe in respect, self-respect. Some people don't have it, and then they project their crappiness onto you. Those are the ones you need to stay away from, right? Like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. So taking the red pill is seeing things for how they are. not candy coating things, not people pushing their agenda, a politically correct agenda, no matter what the agenda. It doesn't even matter. If the word agenda is in there, you don't want any part of it unless it fits your agenda, the spectrum of your existence and what you think life should be. But I'm here to tell you that there's a reality out there that will make you really mad when you start seeing it for real, and it's called basically the red pill rage, red pill anger, red pill rage. People and it all comes from a movie, right? That had this dude Morpheus in it who offered the guy, Keanu Reeves was like the actors, like take the red pill, the blue pill, and basically in the Matrix, the movie, they were using society had come to a horrible calamity. Boom. Big time apocalypse. The computers took over. The computers were fighting people. The computers ended up winning. The computers ended up using people as batteries. Like, so, here are these humans being born and put into this liquid, hooked up with all kinds of cables and all kinds of stuff. So your brain is hooked into the neural net. So the person in this gelatin globulous mess, thinks that you have this existence, but your existence is piped in through computer wires. You have a virtual existence, but you don't know it. So this guy Morpheus is one of the people who are free of this, and then he goes and he rescues other people, and then in this virtual existence, he shows up and say, "I will give you the red pill." If you want to wake up from whatever, and the blue pill, right? So the red pill, you get to see how life really is. The blue pill, you live a fantasy. You live a virtual fantasy. And then you're willing to just take all the crap people are willing to dish out on you, like Brad Pitt. Now, Brad Pitt, I don't watch him as an actor, so I'm not a fan, but I like the guy. From what I know about him, and I don't know him, I'm not friends with him, I never talked to him. I don't know him. I just know of him, like a lot of you. But I've seen him do more good than bad. And I think that he also is lost in this world like the rest of us. Like the rest of us. If you tell me you're not lost, you're lying, because we all are, and in a way. You know what I mean? So here's the headline. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie's battle is still raging into the holidays. So Brad Pitt at one time marries Angelina Jolie, very famous actress, Angelina Jolie, right? Angelina Jolie, who is described by her friends and family as being batshit crazy. And probably many levels above. I don't think when you take a woman who's really beautiful and really rich, and no one's willing to say no to them, not ever. And then, in fact, because of her looks and because of her wealth, people are willing to say and do anything for her. You know, that's the deal in this life. That's life. All the women out there that say looks don't matter, whatever. Oh, really? Is that why you're in your 40s and 50s? You're using all those filters on YouTube and all that other stuff, and on Facebook and all these other apps, trying to make yourself all smoothed out, look like you're 20? You ever see someone for real that you met on the internet? You don't recognize that person when you see him in person. You're like, who are you? Who are you, and what'd you do with the person that I met on the internet? You know? So that's life. People want to look amazing. They want to look great. Sure, why not? It's good to look good, but most of us don't. 65%, 70% of Americans don't look good as standards of good. And when I say good, I mean the politically correct agenda, because it's the PC agenda that's pushing this, pushing this. Well, what it is basically, because it doesn't happen for men really, it only happens for women. It is objectification of the female species. It's objectification of women. We are objectifying them on their looks. Because if Angelina Jolie weighed 300 pounds and had 5 chins, Brad Pitt would have never have even looked at her. And she wouldn't be where she is in the movies. You don't have 300-pound women saving the day unless it's some really wacky, off to the side, dark comedy, Ghostbusters with a bunch of women that nobody ever goes to see, and the movie crashes and burns because nobody wants it. But we have the gentrification of movies now, where they're taking all these male roles and they're putting women in there, and it hasn't worked out for them. It's getting worse and worse and worse because the people who go to see those movies don't want to see that, right? But they're just starting to learn, just starting to learn. And then now you're starting to see movies flip a little bit. But Brad Pitt used to be with Jennifer Aniston, right? The very beautiful. In fact, I think she's more beautiful now than she was when she was on Friends a million years ago. Somebody who actually aged like wine, believe it or not. I think, she's not really my type, but I think she's a beautiful woman. So Brad Pitt said he didn't want to be with her anymore because all she wanted to do was sit around naked on the couch smoking marijuana. And then every guy on the planet heard that and was like, "End? End? You mean you're not happy about sitting around with this unbelievable, beautiful woman? It was nice. It was fun to be with. Funny. You're not happy about that, right? Instead, you want something more. Something more is out there for you, Brad." That's what his brain kicked in. Looked at the beautiful Jennifer Aniston stretched out naked, smoking a joint, and said, "There's something better for me than this. Something better." A lot of dudes, most dudes, probably nearly every dude, would be like, "This is the top. I've done reached the peak." You know what I mean? I've got to top Mount Everest. And the view is nice. You know what I mean? Woohoo! I made it. Oh, you stay there naked, honey. Smoke your weed. I'm gonna bake you some chocolate chip cookies, man. I'll be back. I'll be back in 45 minutes. I'll see you. You stay right there. Look at the Weather Channel. Tell me what's gonna be. But see, that's the deal. Brad Pitt leaves that situation. It's like being on this beautiful island with the sun and the birds, and everything's nice. You got fruit right there. You can just walk up. Walk around naked on your own island. You can walk up and grab some fruit off the tree. So nice and juicy. Instead, he left that island. He swam shark-infested waters to live up on the island of Dr. Moreau with freaking Angelina Jolie, who was known as this Hollywood nut. She was known like as somebody who's got a lot of problems, right? Let's just say she has a lot of problems. When you're poor and you have a lot of problems, they say you're crazy. When you're rich and you have a lot of problems, they say you're eccentric or just different. Anyway, I'm going to read this for you from page 6, right? Brad Pitt's Christmas won't be so merry as the still unresolved issues with Angelina Jolie and their custody battle is still raging, okay? Despite reports that Pitt will see at least 3 of his children with ex-wife Jolie on Christmas Eve, things are not that simple, according to a real source. Every holiday, every birthday, somebody always leaks the same thing about Brad and his supposed plans to see the kids, like the pizza party or whatever, or the birthday this year. And it seems like there's never any truth to it, this insider claimed. And then what makes things worse is that this year it finally seemed as if Brad Pitt, who is 57 years old, and Angelina Jolie, who is 45, and I thought actually she was older than that, were close to reaching the finish line in their long-running divorce. Let me say this. Let me interject. This guy marries her with this big fortune, right? And this is the thing for American males. And a lot of mothers are telling their young sons not to get married. No matter what, don't get married because it is a bad business deal. It's a bad deal. These guys get married and then they get divorced a few years later. These women take half of what they got or more. If they have kids, they get a lot more, right? And it really is. There used to be that the women had a lot of issues in this country and they got nothing. And now, and then the men kind of just did what they did. And now the whole thing has switched and it's gone ass backwards. and now the guys get screwed into the ground, and then the women get everything, and then the guys usually end up dying a horrible death after being used as a utility, and the women go on laughing and be with other guys. And me personally, I know a lot of men who were married, who were divorced and married and divorced, and they're my age. You know what? And it's taking a toll on their health, taking a toll on their money. That they basically, a lot of them are just alone. You know what I mean? So it's kind of it's an interesting situation. And at some point, see now, at some point when you have these drastic knee jerks, it jerks back in the other direction. And then whatever men get out of women, all that is changing now. And in fact, whatever women get out of men, all these things are changing now. And roles are being changed, reversed, and morphed. So I think ultimately it's going to end up of people saving themselves. So if you, depending on what state you're in too, but like if you're in California, they have a common law. So like if you're together a certain amount of time, then they consider it a marriage, that type of thing. In New York State, it doesn't have that. New York State has other types of laws, so to protect both parties in a relationship, right? So this guy left this girl naked and high to go be with crazy Angelina Jolie from the day one. His relationship with Angelina Jolie was tumultuous, because she's out of control, and he's like Mr. Nice Guy, just sitting there like a punching bag, taking a beating. And I witnessed this, and I seldom feel sorry for guys who put themselves into situations like that. I've done it myself, you know, and you have to have the wherewithal to understand where that whole thing comes from, and try to mitigate it somehow, man. So anyway, this all right. So he marries Angelina Jolie, right? And then they have all these problems. So they figure, we have all these problems. How are we going to solve these problems? And the whole problems were with her and her personality. Oh, let's have kids. And they had two of their own. And then they went and adopted a load more. So then one of them was a real problem child, one of the ones that they adopted, right? And Angelina Jolie would coddle this kid and let him get away with murder. The kid would be going nuts, nuts at airports, events, just trying to get anywhere with him, wrecking stuff, going crazy. The kid was violent, used to kick Brad Pitt in the nuts all the time, all that. And, he was like a teenager, you know, at this point. So six of them, right? Six kids, man. And he yelled at the kid one time. And in fact, this is when their divorce started to happen. She called the FBI on him and informed them that he had attacked his son at an airport violently. He yelled at him because the kid was being out of control. And he yelled at him like a father should yell at the kid who was out of control. And the FBI actually went and questioned Brad Pitt. This is what we pay the FBI to do. They went and questioned Brad Pitt over that. And it turns out it was nothing. But she was looking to hang him out to dry. And you know that about people that you're in relationships with who say, I love you, I'll be there for you forever, whatever. They're happy to see you in big trouble after that relationship is over. They're happy to see you die. So don't ever think for a second that these people may want anything good for you, because that ain't gonna happen, man. Ain't gonna happen. Maybe once in a blue moon. And I do mean that. Blue moon. All right, so their their relationship fell apart fairly quickly, right? Probably right after, they adopted the kids. There was a story one time on a woman in Canada, right? One of those goth chicks, really obese. And then she went out there telling people that she wanted to marry a guy and adopt a bunch of kids, right? So she meets a guy who's hard up. He's with her. She marries him. They adopt 5 kids in Canada, right? In a year, 5 kids. And you think, The Canadian authorities would have some kind of wherewithal, but it's Canada, it's Canada. I'll just leave it there. I'll leave it at the door. But all right, a year later, the girl divorces the guy, told her friends what her whole plan was, that she was going to meet a guy, marry him, adopt 5 kids, and divorce him, and have him pay for her and all 5 kids. You know what? She did exactly what she said she was going to do. And then the guy is stuck paying for 5 kids that aren't even his, that they adopted together with a woman he's not married to anymore. He's got to pay for her to sit on her ass and then pay for the kids. So the problem is when you do stuff like that and it's blatant and it happens, it's not just one situation, it happens a lot. It's happening to Brad Pitt. It's not just one situation, it's happening a lot of people being used like that, right? At some point, people wisen up. And when they do, they take a stance. So there's the MGTOW movement out there, men going their own way, right? And there's of course feminists and all that condemn the MGTOW. There's the men's rights, the MRA, men's rights, whatever. And there's a lot. There's a lot of organizations now of men, educating themselves in the ways of this, this. I don't know what would you call it, man. It's a scam, like the whole marriage thing, because that piece of paper, when you get married, it has such a binding contract. Even if you have a prenup, they don't even hold up in court 90% of the time. So look at Phil Collins, right? Phil Collins was married to this woman. He divorces her. She takes 40 million in the divorce, 40 million bucks, right? You know, runs away with that. She burns through it in no time at all. Then she goes and squats in his mansion in Florida. He's got some 30 something $1 million mansion in Miami, right? This is going on right now as we speak. She squats in the mansion, has the boyfriend move in with her. She hires armed guards to walk around the property. So Phil Collins is trying to evict her. And she said, if you evict me, I'm going to smash all of your stuff in your mansion, his gold records, all the important memorabilia he got from the music business and all the hard work that he's done, all of the hard work that he's done. The only thing she did was ride along with him, be along for the ride. He pulled up, opened up the door of the sports car, she got in, and let's go. For that, I guess she deserves tens of millions of dollars, and also squatting in his mansion. And the authorities aren't even going to do anything. The cops said that they'll go in, but she said she'll bust up all this stuff. This is the problem. At some point, people have been empowered to do this and act like this. And then the system is backing them up 100%, or not doing anything for you, Brad Pitt. So Brad Pitt's been getting a divorce for 5 years. 5 years. Imagine that. The divorce has cost millions already in lawyer fees. He's 57 years old. He's probably going to be 65 by the time the divorce has gone through. If he didn't get married to her, none of this stuff would be going on. They would have went their separate ways, maybe split up a couple of things, whatever, man. And she wouldn't be able to hold the kids over his head because he actually loves this kid. They got 6 kids, even though they have like 12 nannies. She's not taking care of her kids. She was never the mom that sat down with her kids, Angelina Jolie, and take care of her children. You know. So I mean, if what's even the point? Just because you want to have kids around, but you're going to hire all these nannies. The same thing for the prince and the princess there in California. Malibu Barbie and her prince. We got one kid, they got 5 nannies. Really, really. How many nannies do you need? Take care of that one kid. She's too busy planning out her career, right? Oh boy. So anyway, as for their divorce, Of course, these guys announced their split September 2016, and a bitter custody fight over their six children. And then there's no resolution, really. They said that there's resolution in sight. I've been saying that for over 5 years, almost 6 years. The resolution in sight. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. That Brad Pitt falls into a coffin. That's what she wants him to do. She wants him to die. So that's the thing about psychopaths, man, and that's the thing about people in general. But if you're fortunate enough to be with a psychopath, yeah, it's a roller coaster ride. Unfortunately, I attract them like a yellow light bulb to moths. Maybe that's me. Maybe I'm the psychopath. I don't know. I haven't yet determined that. The jury's still out, man. But all right. In this case, though, there was a monkey wrench that got thrown into it because Angelina Jolie filed to dismiss the judge. The judge was going in Brad Pitt's direction. She wants 75% of his money. This is the deal. 75% of what he owns now. I mean, all of his money, everything. And she wants 75% of his future earnings. 75. So 75%. Three-quarters of your dough and three-quarters of your future after taxes. So you pay the taxes on it, and then whatever's left, I mean, so before taxes, she gets the money. After taxes, whatever, then you got to pay taxes on that money. So you get whatever's left after taxes. That's what I mean. Which is like nothing. And he doesn't want to do it. And he's looking for every which way. All because of a marriage? What's so great about getting married anyway? The wedding cake? You could always eat cake, the guy, they sell that store. You can have cake every damn day if you want to work out a lot or gain weight. You can have cake all the time. You can have cake driving down the street. You don't have to get married. Oh, marriage is an institution. Because it used to be people had to get married, right? It was pushed by religion. They want to have kids, the same name. That's really what it's all about. If you're 50 and you meet someone who's 50 and neither of you are looking to have kids, you really don't have to get married. The reason why women would want to get married in the United States of America, especially places like California or whatever, is because if something happens, that marriage ends, they get half the stuff, whatever the guy's got. You know what I mean? And depending on how great your lawyers are and whatever, things get dragged out. Much of the action in court is divorce action. And 2/3 of all marriages in the U.S. end up in divorce. 2/3. So why she want to dismiss the judge? Because he was leaning in Brad Pitt's favor. And then she said, well, I don't trust him. He was the same judge that married them, kind of easy on, easy off, wax on, wax off type of situation. She doesn't trust him, but he's the one who married her. She doesn't trust him because the judge knows his lawyer, but knows her lawyer too. It's just more BS from somebody who's not really stable at all. And she's just trying to drag things out to make the guy suffer because she wants more money out of him. They're not willing to give that much money to her. And she's probably got more than he does. She's very successful. I think she's one of the most successful women in Hollywood. Maybe there's only a few that are more successful, that have more money, like maybe an Oprah Winfrey. That's at one point, Angelina Jolie and Oprah Winfrey were battling it out for who's going to be the billion-dollar baby. So she's got her own money. And I don't know, Brad Pitt's in a lot of movies, I guess. I don't watch his movies. The last movie I saw with that dude was a zombie movie. I'm like, what the hell's Brad Pitt doing in a zombie movie? I think it must be pretty bad if he's going. I mean, I like my zombie movies, but Brad Pitt, he'd be eaten up in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Anyway, but now Brad Pitt's fighting to see his kids. They say, well, he's bound to see his kids at some point, And as this whole thing heads into its 5th year, she's holding the kids over his head. Because of what? Because he was so horrible to her? Because he was so mean to her? He never did anything to her. She was the violent one. She was the one with the ill words for him. She was the one who abused him emotionally. Emotional abuse is like being used now in court. I go through it all the time. I get crap that I have to hear off of people all the time. And then it takes a toll on you. It takes a toll on you spiritually, it takes a toll on you physically, mentally, the whole bit, man. So this is a sad story because it's about Brad Pitt fighting to see the kids that he loves, and then a woman who's keeping him from his kids, and the judges have no problem with that because they're afraid to say anything to her. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, I feel sorry for Brad Pitt a little bit, like 20%. 20%, Brad, because you left the beautiful, naked Jennifer Aniston. That's like that show. Let's make a deal. Curtain number one, curtain number two, curtain number three. Curtain number one is a leather couch with Jennifer Aniston on it, naked, smoking a joint. Curtain number two is Angelina Jolie with 4 adopted kids, 2 others, all mean, nasty, with a huge whip in her hand and a pipe in the other. She's ready to beat the crap out of you because she's violent. Curtain number 3 is a bunch of chickens. Because, let's make a deal. But chickens with a couple bales of hay. And honestly, curtain 1 and 3, he would have been way better off. Curtain 3, at least he has some chicken. Curtain 1 got the beautiful Jennifer Aniston. You know what? That's someone you don't leave. Right? Who cares if you want to smoke pot on the couch? People do. Like I said, bake her some muffins or something, man. Be happy. But instead he left this beautiful situation. So what is that, man? Is that just like the guy who has it all, who wants to suffer? Or did he? I mean, he could have adopted kids with Jennifer Aniston. He could have had kids, adopted kids, whatever, man. Or just have a couple cats or a couple dogs like people do, man. So whatever. But he went from like Shangri-La into the sewers, man, with giant sewer rats biting onto him. And that's sad. It's not really sad. It's actually, you know what? To be the regular guy out there and see a dude like Brad Pitt who has it all suffering at his own hand. I mean, granted, he made a bad choice, right? But he should have been smart enough. The writing should have been on the wall. Angelina Jolie's father, very famous actor in Hollywood, warned Brad Pitt. He said, Brad, she's completely crazy. The father's had a lot of trouble, right? A lot of trouble with Angelina Jolie, man. And I'm sorry to laugh in your face, Brad Pitt, because you had it all, dude. You had it all. And then instead, you gave it up for nothing. Gave it up. So your father's name is John Voight. John Voight. Very famous actor, John Voight. A little kooky himself. He's kooky, right? He's really kooky, as a matter of fact. But that's fine. Whatever. You don't have to be worried about Brad Pitt. He's got his own problems. He's not suffering on Christmas Eve right now without seeing his kids. I'm sure he's thinking about them. I'm sure he's emailing them or doing whatever they Instagram and whatever they do, pictures of each other, FaceTime. These Hollywood types, they're always busy running, working, making movies, doing stuff, being on set, running around the world. Their lives aren't normal lives, and then the kids have to suffer through that. It is what it is. So, Brad, Merry Christmas, man. I wish you all the best. And I hope you find some kind of peace in your soul at some point, right? But what about the Pope? What about Pope Francis, man? What do you guys think about Pope Francis liking this really hot picture from this girl, Natalia Garibodo, who is an Instagram model? All of a sudden, these girls realize that they can use their objectification on Instagram and then do OnlyFans, and they put their stuff out there, their wares, for people to pay for. Basically, they want guys to pay money to look at their body, and whatever, man. Yeah, you're selling yourself, isn't it? Another way of selling yourself. But whatever, I'm not going to judge people and what they do. I just understand that you don't want to be caught up in that. There's guys who chuck a bunch of money at these girls, and like for what? For what? To see their private parts? Are you really that off the wall that you got to pay money to see some girls' private parts, man? I know. No. There's a whole industry built around it, but it's still kind of funny to me because I don't know. It's just sad. It's what it is. It's freaking sad. So anyway, the Pope was on Instagram checking all these hot girls, maybe whatever. I don't know what he was doing. All right, here's the story, man. All right, Natalia Garibaldo, who caused a sinful scandal when Pope Francis' Instagram account liked a steamy photo of her. Says the papal publicity. She says the papal publicity gained her 600,000 followers. all of them, all of them looking to make a donation to her, I'm sure. And now she's making more money because of it. Wow, 600,000. Can we call them Catholics? 600,000 followers? Whatever. So, Garibaldo, who says she is religious and attends church, tells us she was shocked. Oh, when she saw the like and thought it was a big deal. Oh, the Pope liked my butt. The Pope liked me. Yeah, it's some old guy in a dress. Woohoo! I don't know, man. And what they represent. It's kind of funny to me. So, all right, but it says, but she seemed to be taking the entrepreneurial view of the divine incident because you know what? It's all about the money. Follow the money. She says, I make money off Instagram. Garibaldo told Page Six, Page Six, saying that attention has helped her be able to have more leverage on brands because that's what they do. These Instagram models, or let's call them influencers, is the proper term. An influencer, somebody with a lot of following. These companies know that, like L'Oreal or something like that, knows that people are going to look at this, so they advertise their product with that girl, right? And then they think that they're going to make a lot of money, whatever. Maybe they do make money off it. I don't know. I know that 80% of the purchases in the United States of America are made by women. That's why most commercials you see on television make men look like utilities or put men down or make men look like they're idiots or morons. It's really a disservice to males of what they do on television and especially in commercials. And it never used to be like that. It's like that now, but also, the women I know don't like weak men. They don't like to see weak men, and they like men to be strong, confident, and strong, funny, confident, strong, but not abusive or anything like that. Right? Makes sense. But instead, these advertising agencies have gone a whole different direction. So anyway, this model, who poses mostly in bikinis and lives in Miami, said her new Pope-loving following she said it gave me a confidence to post more pictures and make deals in fashion. The thong, the thong, thong, thong. The holy thong. Something like that. That's what I'm thinking. Garibaldo is also a gamer and has her own platform on Twitch, which she recently hosted a special event in which she had told her followers about digital banking and financial health, a financial health platform ahead of financials while playing Call of Duty. She's smart with the money. The Pope's like has been deleted. Does that mean he doesn't like her anymore? Does that mean he found somebody else? Because that's these Instagram girls. You know what I mean? They're cute for a while, then you're done. I don't know. So according to reports, the pontiff's social media are run by a team. We can exclude that the like came from the Holy See, and it has turned to Instagram for explanations. Explain this like. well, I don't know, man. Is the Pope liked her? It wasn't the Pope. He doesn't even go near his Instagram. It's people do it for him. So they want like Instagram to explain what these guys did. And isn't that the church, man? Like they do things. Oh, I can't believe this happened. Explain yourself. Well, let me explain myself. You did it. Explain myself. You better pray on it, dude. You gotta pray on that bikini girl. So, and how do you know he didn't like that? How you know that? The Pope apparently goes on Twitter, talks to people once in a blue moon. I remember that was like a big deal, right? You actually think he even knows how to use any of that stuff? I mean, I don't know. I think that the whole thing is kind of funny to me. So, but a Vatican spokesperson told The Guardian that they were going to probe the situation. Probing, eh? On Wednesday, Pope Francis's Instagram account was accused of liking another racy photo of an OnlyFans model. Ooh, OnlyFans. They're paying for that. He kicked it up a notch. Maybe you got something going on there. but, but isn't that funny? I mean, it's just like, to me, it's just, here's the Pope. This is like 2020, man. What a crazy freaking year. And then technology on top of that, and COVID-19, fires and riots and floods, oh my, and, political division, people going crazy. Oh my God. Yeah. And Brad Pitt choosing the wrong damn door, choosing door number 2. All right. And while people are going crazy, of course, Congress had to get their last digs in. And they said, well, we're going to give Americans $600. After all the stimulus talks, after all months and months of people having nothing, people running out of money, their protections are pretty much gone. In a few more days, I'll have no more protections of being evicted or anything like that. People have food problems, they have food inequality or whatever, and then all kinds of stuff, right? Congress, all those people, they're very filthy rich, aren't they? And they're sitting there. Nancy Pelosi's worth a few $100 million by herself, not even including her husband. But, these people are very wealthy. Mitch McConnell, same thing. Very wealthy people. And they're sitting there grasping at just nonsense. They were more interested in sending $10 million to Pakistan for gender studies. I mean, when you look at the list of foreign countries and the billions that we're giving these foreign countries, what does that have to do with the United States of America and our COVID-19 relief? What does it have to do for us? Nothing. And then instead, they want to give people $300 a week for their unemployment supplemental for 11 weeks, which is nothing. It was $600 a week, but $300 a week for 11 weeks is going to be gone. And then they were going to give people $600 who are working, and $600 again for after all these months, nothing. They're giving other countries basically more than what they will be dishing out. Corporations that don't deserve it, countries that don't deserve it. This is your elected representative. Know it, live it, learn it. This is what they are. This is what they do. Okay? So then Trump comes in and says, well, I don't think this is right, $600. It should be $2,000. And people are like, what? What? And then he dumped it on Nancy Pelosi. He vetoed the bill. He could have pocketed the bill. When a president pockets a bill, they don't sign it, the bill expires in 30 days. He could have pocketed the bill and been gone and not worry and leave it with Joe Biden, right? He didn't. He vetoed the bill. It goes back to Congress. Tells Nancy Pelosi, put the $2,000 provision in there. So she said, okay. And then they're voting on Monday to put the $2,000 in. Now, the GOP and the Senate, they're the ones who really have to push it through. And if they don't, people have no stimulus. Their protections are gone. The companies, businesses have nothing. By the way, this whole stimulus, there's really nothing for restaurants. So your basic ma and pa businesses out there, nothing. They get nothing. They get to close down after they pay all their taxes, and they get screwed and they get to close down, lose their businesses. We're not protecting them, right? But yeah, it should be $2,000 for people, and it should be $600 a week to keep people on their feet because they got bills to pay. The COVID thing's not going to last forever, and people will be back to work one day. Things are changing, offices are changing, all kinds of stuff is changing. But the reality is, these politicians don't really care. I mean, you saw their plan, $600. People were laughing at it. They're like, for what? What's the purpose? $600 or $300 a week. $300 a week's not going to carry anybody. A lot of states aren't even paying. They ran out of their unemployment. Some states were giving people $100 a week, $150 a week for unemployment. You try living on $150 a week. You can't. You can't. And they say, well, it's okay because the landlords will wait for payment. So your landlord's going to wait a year for payments. And then by the time that year comes back, you get back on your feet. You're a year behind. You're a year's in debt, not just to your landlord, to everybody else under the sun. That's no plan. But these are unprecedented times. And we have to mitigate this virus. We have to slow the spread. People have to be responsible. They have to listen to the rules. It's not against their rights, but it's not your right to make somebody else sick. So keep that in mind. It's a public health issue, and these politicians have turned it into a political issue, where people, I don't believe in this. I don't believe in COVID. I don't believe. There's a lot of morons out there, straight up morons that just listen to what these other morons say that are in the White House and all around, and they just repeat it without any understanding of what they're saying or talking about. Those people frustrate me. They frustrate me. So how about there are people dying from this right now? There are people that have it right now. There's a new mutation right now that's already here, came from England. And then 60% of the new infections in England is this new mutation. And they don't know how this mutation is going to react to their antiviral. So everything is still up in the air. But these times, life is not going to go back to normal tomorrow. You want to go back to normal, don't you? Me too. But life is not going to go back to normal tomorrow. So you have to work within the zone that we're in for greater goals and helping one another and making sure each other, that we safeguard the public and we don't make people sick. It's that simple. So you pay attention to the rules, man. So anyway, they're voting on a Monday. If not, the government's going to shut down. So they don't do anything anyway. Go ahead and shut down. Every time they shut down, it helps us out. So you can call Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and tell her that I'm available. That Michael Angley's available, and he's not with your communism, but I'm going to teach you about that. You know what? She was a bartender, and I'm not really a drinker, but I do like this drink called a toasted almond. It's got amaretto in there and some other stuff. It's so good. On a winter day, toasted almond is nice, man. Anyway, she can make me a toasted almond, or I'll make her one, man. I like AOC. I like her because I think she cares. I think she doesn't know anything yet, that as a politician, I think that she can do some good, but she has to get with the program. And the whole preaching, Bernie Sanders, he kind of gets into people's heads with the communism thing. It's like those guys back in the 60s, the same types. They get a hold of people that are kind of like they're newbies, they're green stick, and they put these terrible ideas in their heads. So yeah, I think that she could do a lot better. But anyway, nearly 60% of the country thinks poorly of the progressive darling, Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and 75% want nothing to do with the socialism that she preaches. These are people in her own party too. Think about that. That she thought she was on top because she had an Instagram following. That thing, unless the Pope likes you, apparently, it means nothing. Means nothing. Means nothing. So I think that she needs to get with the program and start representing the people in Queens and Bronx who elected her. They didn't really elect her, actually. She didn't have an election. She ran off in a primary, and the Democrats pushed her onto the top. The other guy in there was Democrat, and then he's been there for like 30 years. They got rid of him and put her in. But the people in Queens and the people in the Bronx saying she's not doing anything for them. So, and people were asked, people out there in the United States, asked whether the free market economy or socialism was better. 75% of likely voters chose capitalism, while 11% backed socialism. according to the Heartland Institute Rasmussen poll, which are okay, I guess, fairly accurate. So another 14% said they're not sure. Not sure. I don't know. How about we just make rules that about equality? How about we don't make rules that are against men or against women or against anything? Rules against bad, rules for good. Taking certain groups of people and pushing them to the top, bad, because it's unwarranted. We just need equality. That's it. If you're black and I'm white and the guy next to me is Asian and the other guy over there is Latino, and we get a job, we should all be making the same money if we're all equally qualified. All of us. Not one, not other, whatever. Male, female, it shouldn't matter, right? It shouldn't, but it does matter. And people play those games, and people have been fighting for equality for a long time. But I will tell you this: you see your issues of racism and all this other stuff. Here's the real news. I'm going to give you the red pill news. You know what the red pill news is? That we are at an all-time high in over 50 years of income equality in the United States of America, where the rich people get richer and the poor people get poorer. That's the truth. That's the truth. That's the red pill right there that you just took. Is that the people that are in charge, that top 1%, are playing the games and then throwing everybody a bone. Here's a $600 bone. Go fight over it. Go fight over it. Oh no, you gotta lose sleep at night. Oh, it's Christmas and I don't know where my money's gonna come from the next day. I'm getting kicked out in a few days. Oh, I don't have any money to pay my electric bill. The electric's being shut off. Oh, the president's playing games and Congress is playing games. I don't know what's gonna happen. Oh man. That's most Americans right there. In a panic. They're in a panic because they've been lied to this whole time by people who represent them, who don't represent them, only in name. They represent the money, the bank, themselves, their own bank account, the special interests. How do you think Nancy Pelosi made hundreds of millions of dollars in politics? How about the rest of them? Hundreds of millions of dollars. How about that? At least Trump made his money from hotels and other stuff, but not politics. There's something there. Say what you want about the guy. There's something there. So, with that, I'm going to say a ho, 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 Merry Christmas. I hear Santa Claus coming. I'm kidding. Santa Claus is homesick. He's hacking, man. He's hacking. I just want people to be happy, man. That's my Christmas wish. I wished happiness and love for the world, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Wouldn't have it any other way. This is Michael Angley on Michael Angley Live, Red Pill News. I will see you guys on this here show next week, man. I think it's New Year's Eve, isn't it? New Year's Eve. Hey, Joe, is next week New Year's Eve? Yes, it is, man. New Year's Eve. Woohoo. I think I'll be here. Be here chiming things down. I got nothing to do, nowhere to go, man. So, and then people are like, doing a show on Christmas Eve. I'm like, yeah, why not? And people want to listen to the radio, and plus I got people in China, Iran, I don't know, all over the world, literally 181 countries, we get to look at the list of where people are listening when they download the show and all that, man. So literally, it might be one guy in Cambodia, but man, I got that one guy. In fact, I know who he is. He's actually somebody I know, which is kind of cool. But you know what? I'm here for you guys, even as Christmas Eve. Maybe you are alone. Maybe you're sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. Yeah. I've been there too, man. I was feeling sorry for myself until last night. When the devil came to get me last night, and he and I talked. We talked. He left all right. He left. So, yep, it's like that. So anyway, Merry Christmas, ho ho ho, happy holidays, whatever your holiday is, man. Have a tip tot tet. Have a beautiful Ramadan. Have a happy hooky Hanukkah. A hookah Hanukkah. That's pretty interesting. I don't know. Just be happy. Just be happy. You too, Brad Pitt. I love you, man. Love you, man. I'll see you guys next week. on United Public Radio Network, UPRNTalkRadio.com, 107.5 New Orleans, 104.7 Pat Christian saying, yeehaw!
Oh, Christmas time is here, ladies and gentlemen. For all you strange folks out
I
there
was
in
going to
never
start
never
playing
land.
fucking music.
I said, I'm
I
gonna
was going
get.
to play some
Yeah, you
stuff.
said you always want to be DJing, man. Yeah,
I'm ready,
yeah.
man.
You said you want to be getting out there DJing.
Yeah, think about what